John. We have Commissioner Beth Brown and Commissioner Isaac Troncoso. So if you see them afterwards and you'd like to talk to them, they are also a part of the Community Commission. There's 2 folks who are missing. There's a total of 7 of us. Ultimately, we all will be voting on the candidates for the next superintendent. Also, just want to thank everybody for coming out. This is really important that we get a chance to talk to you on the front end. And with that, I will let Commissioner Terry open us up.
Yes, I also want to take an opportunity. Are there any district council members that are here? If you could raise your hands. Okay, thank you all for coming out.
And we also have our chairman of the Public Safety Committee at the City Council here, Alderman Chris Taliaferro. Thank you for joining us. So, the CCPSA is a new body. It is a civilian oversight agency which has jurisdiction over most of the public safety infrastructure in the city of Chicago. It was passed by city ordinance in July of 2021, so we have direct oversight authority over the Chicago Police Department, over COPA, which stands for the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, and that is the investigatory body of the Chicago Police Department. And we also have jurisdiction over the police board, which is the disciplinary body of the Chicago Police Department. So there are 2 bodies to the CCPSA. One half of us is the district councils, which you all hopefully went to the ballot box and voted for. There's 22 police districts in the city of Chicago, and there are 3 district councilors per police district. So they were recently elected, and they will be inaugurated May 2nd. And then the idea there is that you should never be more than 5 minutes away from somebody in your district who can represent you when it comes to public safety. And then there's a 7-person body, which I am currently the president of, and the 7-person body is the Community Commission. And as I mentioned, we have jurisdiction over those 3 city agencies or city departments. We have policy-making authority. We vote on different things, but one of the most important tasks that we have is the superintendent search. And that is why we are here today. The commission also sets goals and does reviews for the chief administrator of COPA, for the police superintendent, and also for the president of the police board. So definitely want to, echo Commissioner Terry and shout out the district councils who are in the room and those who will be inaugurated on May 2nd. I would encourage everybody here to get to know your district councilor. This is something that is 50 years in the making. There was a conference in the city of Chicago in May of 1973 that called for a community control of the police department. There's a lot of familiar names on that list, and this is what they call for. They call for hyper-local form of government at the district level for Chicagoans to have a voice in public safety. And also, our vice president just walked in the room, so we want to acknowledge him as well, Commissioner Oswaldo Gomez. And with that, I will pass it to Commissioner Terry, who will give us a rundown of the superintendent search process.
Yes, so as you all are aware, we are here because we are tasked with a heavy lift, and that is coming up with nominees for the new superintendent for the Chicago Police Department. So if you are not aware, the application went live on this past Friday, Good Friday, for any interested applicants to apply. The application process is open for 30 days and will close on May 7th. In the interim, we will be hosting these 4 town halls. This is one of 4 right here on the west side of Chicago. And the next one will be at St. Sabina, and that is going to be on April 19th. So please, please, please make sure to spread the word because it's very important for everyone's voices to be heard. We will also host a virtual session for those who may not be able to be in attendance in person. And then we will wrap up this initial process of these public town halls on May 4th. Also, what's important to note about this superintendent process, because there's so many questions about it, the commission will be responsible for conducting interviews as well as reviewing the applications. As a full commission, we will need to take a vote on who will be our top 3 candidates that we would like to put before Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson. But by the time we get through that process, he will officially have been sworn in as mayor. The mayor at that particular point will have 30 days from the time that we present the slate to make a determination on whether he will accept one of those 3 candidates or if all 3 candidates will be rejected. Of course, we're hoping for the former because we plan on doing a very great job with the assistance of the community in choosing candidates for this upcoming position. And once the mayor makes a decision on the candidate of choice, that individual will then go before the full city council to be sworn in. So just wanted to give you guys an overview of the process so you understand why we're here and what the timeline looks like for this process. So if you're thinking it's gonna be done in the next few weeks, it will not. Expect to see something coming around July. So I'll turn it back over to you.
So I'll briefly talk about, why we're here tonight and why community input is so important and so valuable. So this is the first time, this is a new thing for our commission. This commission is a new thing. It's only been around officially for about 8 months, and as I mentioned, it was passed, you all hear me? And it was passed by city ordinance in July of 2021. So with that, what our goal is to put the community at the forefront, and that is you all who are here today. So I want you to know that Commissioner Terry and I have discussed this, our commission has discussed this. We are coming into this process with a complete open mind. We are engaging stakeholders from across the country, from across the city, from within the police department, people who have been impacted by violence, people who, want to be engaged in this process, but that really all starts with you. So we're gonna have 4 of these. As I mentioned to a reporter earlier, we are open to doing more. If you have a specific constituency or demographic or group of people who would like for us to come out, I would happily give you my email or my phone number. You can walk up to me after the meeting and we will come out and we will do this in your community as well. But this is to me, and I think Commissioner Terry would agree, is the most important part. Our city is struggling with public safety. I myself am struggling with public safety. I know many of you in this room are struggling with public safety. I am a person who was impacted by gun violence. I lost a lot of friends and family members to gun violence, and even just recently, I myself was robbed at gunpoint in January. And I say that to say that I imagine that that's not a much different story than many of the folks who are in this room today. So with that, I believe it's paramount that we do something different in our city. And the thing that I think we need to do differently, which is what we're trying to accomplish, is get the community brought into this process. Please know that we are not coming at this process with folks in mind. There is no short list. I did have a chance to speak to Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson. He did not submit a short list, but he did state that he is supportive of this process. He is supportive of having a very robust community engagement process. So the things that we hear here today from you all, we're going to take and we're going to actually implement. We're going to take your comments, we're going to take your concerns, and as we begin the process of interviewing superintendent candidates, we're going to keep you at the forefront, and we may directly ask these questions that you all asked today. So wanted to just level set. I am not a person who, is here to give you a spiel. I'm a person who's from the community. So is Commissioner Terry. We're here to hear from you. We view ourselves as one of you. This is a community commission. It's an independent agency. We're not beholden to an administration or a city council, but we are beholden to you. So I hope you feel free to share your thoughts. And if this is the type of forum where you are not comfortable sharing your thoughts with us, as much as possible, we will avail ourselves to talk to you on a one-on-one basis or your specific community group.
Thank you for that, Anthony. And so with that being said, I just want to go quickly through the procedures for this particular forum. So prior to coming in, you were asked if you wanted to provide public comment, and we have these sheets here. And so we will call you up in groups of 3 to come to the mic to be able to share your thoughts and comments as it relates to this upcoming superintendent search. It's very important to note that we really want to hear what are these qualifications, what are these experiences you believe the next superintendent of Chicago must have in order to be an effective leader. And so with that, you'll get 2 minutes of an opportunity to share your thoughts. Anthony and I, if we have any follow-ups or anything like that, we will pose those questions to you, and then you will have a 1-minute wrap-up to close off any additional thoughts or comments. What's also important is that we have this QR code up behind us. We have a survey, so I would really ask that each and every one of you also complete this survey, as we will leverage that data to influence our process as well. It's a really quick survey, just asking what your thoughts are on the different qualifications you are looking for in the next superintendent and any additional comments you may have. So this is another opportunity, if you don't feel comfortable coming up to the mic, to be able to have your voices heard via our survey. Also, what's important is that we know that this is a very passionate topic. We love passion, but we also want to make sure that we're keeping it respectful, as, again, we're looking to, this has never been done before. I think we need to be very clear, this has never been done before. So any pessimists, any naysayers, this is the first time. So we ask that you give us an opportunity to do what we set out to do, and that is hear you and make sure you have a seat at the table within this next upcoming search process. And so with that being said, I think we can go ahead and start calling up our folks.
Cool. And I did this at the very first meeting that we ever had, where we had some documents that were not translated, and we were called out, and I apologize for that. And I was also just asked about us having translation services here today. And so I again want to apologize for us not having translation services for the speakers and for us. And we're a new agency, as Commissioner Terry mentioned, this is our first time going through this process. So we will do our best to make sure that it's not an issue going forward. And with that, if we're going to call people up in groups of 3, Tyler Phillips with YDAC, Richard C. Williams, and looks like Miller Rogers. If you can line up at the microphone, please. And also, I must say, if you are not able to come up to the microphone when I call your name, raise your hand or alert us, and we will bring a microphone to you. You are Mr. Phillips, right?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Tyler. I'm here on behalf of Chief Cato, 15th District. And I want to speak on how he changed my life personally, because I was at 15th District as 12, 13 years old. I'm 17 now. And I was there when he was a commander. And he taught me how to be a leader in different ways. We'd go out and do community engagements, go clean up parks by our church, clean up parks. We'd do the St. Jude Parade with police officers, including him in it. And then he showed me how to be a leader, basically. Because when I started as a kid, I was real shy. I didn't want to talk in front of nobody. And he told me it don't matter what other people think about you. As long as you put your mind to it, you're gonna be able to get whatever you want in life. And that stuck with me for the rest of my life. And he taught me how to be the man I am today in different ways. Also Martinez, also Munoz right there, also Whitaker. They just taught me how to be a better leader. That's all I really want to touch on.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard. Everybody hear me? I just got
I don't want to cut you off, but can you spell your name, please, for the purpose of the record, their recording?
Okay, did he spell his name?
No, you should have, we didn't get a chance to.
I see. Okay, you want to go back up and spell your name? I'm glad.
Just spell your name for the record.
Tyler.
Last name Phillips.
Oh, Phillips. Phillips.
Thank you.
All right, I'm sorry about the Puerto Rican, but I'm black. I'm not sorry, I do whatever I am, but that's what I am. My name is Richard, R-I-C-H-A-R-D, Williams, W-I-M-L-I-A-M-S. And the only thing that I want to say is, in the past, I think the establishment has been very narrow-minded. I don't think that you should hire outside of the police department. I think that it is very silly to do something that's sad. And also, I'd like to add that I've been a Chicago fireman for 32 years, and I would take high offense if they were to hire someone that was not a Chicago fireman. I don't get this New York, this way, that way, whatever. I don't get it. I really don't. Aside from that, I don't know the people personally, whatever brownie point system you want to work by, as long as they don't have a record of a lot of violence toward things and stuff like that. I don't care what race, what female, male, color, free, whatever, I don't care. But please hire within the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Noah Rogers, Millerrodgers. And I'm here to welcome you and let you know that the Peacemakers will be in complete support of this committee, and we'll be here to support you in any way we can. I've been a resident of Illinois, Chicago, Illinois since 1942. And an activist ever since, and we will be here to support you. This is a breath of fresh air where we get a chance to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Rogers, can you just tell us a little bit about your organization?
Peacemakers Coalition is a group of individuals that would like to help anybody in any community. That's why we're a coalition. To help with block clubs, anything that somebody wants to do, we are there to support them in any community. I'm from North Lawndale. Many of our people that are peacemakers are from Austin and everywhere in Chicago, so that's why we're a coalition. And we're here to support neighborhoods like the old days.
Thank you.
So our next three are Wilbur Cook, Nate Warner, and Charles Anderson. So once you approach the mic, please spell your name for the record.
Also, I think,
There's someone
Adam
waiting.
or somebody from the CCPSA staff, we have some more, comment cards in the back. Somebody can drop it. If you still have these sheets and you're looking to turn it in and give public comment, can you, notify us, please?
Good evening. I'm glad that the committee decided to stop on the west side. I was really first.
Spell your name, Wilbur.
Wilbur Cook, spelled W-I-L-B-E-R-T, and I'm glad you asked, because they spelled it a whole lot of ways, even the people know me all know that, including our west side branch people. But anyway, Cook, C-O-O-K, standard spelling, like Cook County, the greatest nepotism I know. I'll work with it. Hey, they had to do something right. But anyway, my concern is a lot more serious. My concern is, unfortunately, I live on what they call, for 25 years, the heroin highway. And the last pandemic. And I've always seen the police more concerned about a perimeter around shooters than saving any of the black boys' lives. Come on now. Or the black women who occasionally shot at them. I've seen them stand over and watch boys bleed out. And then when the commander or sergeant say make a perimeter, the excitement that hits them. And they run around with the tape, setting up the perimeter. And try to save that child's life. I've watched them not move them damn police cars to let the ambulance or the fire department in to tend to the shot child. Folks begging them to try to save this kid's life. And they acting like they don't get up. Made the fire department go through the tight alley and move their car and let them off the street. Made the ambulance go through the tight alley a half a block away. And as we know, it's always talked about trauma centers. A couple of minutes can be the difference between life and death. They, however, the superintendent got to make sure when they're in our community, they're concerned to protect us for real. Shot or no shot, young or old, black, white, somewhere in between. But they don't value our lives. I've seen it too many times over there. they never tend to the victim. I was so shocked one time I pulled over, somebody fell out in the 400 block of Van Buren, and the detective was actually trying to tend to them. And of all the detectives, they're usually the ones really run roughshod through the community. And I was so pleased that they were trying to potentially save a life.
Your frozen time.
Oh, my time is up. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Well, hopefully,
Yeah.
if I can,
If I can actually, if I can,
Superintendent.
no, I just wanted to say that, one, I hear you, but if you were able to say something to the next person who will be the superintendent, what would it be?
Make sure that you make sure all your officers and you are concerned with valuing the life of every Chicago citizen, especially the market.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Hello, I'm Officer Mathaidel, Warner, WARNER. I'm here real quick to talk about, I work in the Bureau of Counterterrorism, but we're not gonna talk about what I do over there. I'm gonna talk about bridging the gap between CPS and CPD. I'm a 3-time war veteran, and I've seen horrific things overseas. Our children are seeing those same things. There needs to be something set up to where CPD, CPS, and mental licensed physicians are looking after our children. We need to open that loophole. I learned this from my mother. My mother got out of the Kehrein, did 23 years on the Chicago Police Department. She's sitting right there. She's not much of a speaker, but I am, and I'm very outspoken. She worked in the schools. She retired, and I said, why don't you leave and go somewhere else, get out of the city? She went back and started teaching with CPS. So my thing to you all is, I'm telling you, this post-traumatic stress is real. It hurts these kids to stand over their loved ones, piggybacking off what he just said. A child is there watching. A child is there watching. We must do better and look out for our kids' mental health and teach them coping skills. That's what I ask of the next superintendent. Compassion, empathy, and be open-minded. Yeah. And bridge that gap. That's all. That's all.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Charles Anderson, C-H-A-R-L-E-S, Anderson, A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N. I just really got up to say, well, really, he took everything. I think you read my notes. But I will say, one thing that I did want to say is that it's important for our youth, because our youth are our future, and I think sometimes we forget that. But our youth are our future, and when even I think about, like even for us saying we need more teachers, even CPD saying they need more police officers. There's reason that people don't want to do those things, or our young people don't want to do those things. Maybe because some of the things that they've heard, some of the things they've seen, but we have to look at ways of bridging that gap, definitely with mental health. You know, our kids are seeing so much death, it's normal, some of it is normalized for them, and that should never be. We also need to build that where we're not looking to push police out of schools, but we're looking to figure out how can we have them work together to build that bridge for safety for our students. The last thing I would like to add is, as you guys are doing searches, I think we need to do one for youth. So even if you do want to pick a school or something, but maybe during the day, I don't mind, I'll donate, give my school or whatever, but pick a day that we can do, like just bring youth to the room and have them, because I think that would be an important piece that you need to hear from their standpoint as to what they would even want. Because when I think about superintendent, I think about somebody who knows the streets, first of all. Like, I don't need somebody to know that I need help and they gotta put in GPS to find me. The second thing that I would say is, when I think about a superintendent, I want someone who knows my name. And whether they know my actual name, but they know my name. It's very, very important, because there's safety in that you feel like you can reach out and touch someone, that they got your back. And I think that's how we even look at sometimes our lectures, look at who's gonna be there to at least care about me. And so as we think about that, we need to do the same thing for our children. So I do really want to push you guys to think about some type of youth day or youth council, maybe where we have buses come to one school, and you bring the student councils and so forth so that they can, you say time?
It is, but
Okay,
I
Brian.
got a follow-up question. Because I think that's a good point about having a youth forum.
Okay.
Is that something like you envision that like we don't, like, no adults allowed, like only the youth are able to come in and voice their concerns, and you think it's something like we're having here, but it's like youth focused?
It's completely youth. Let you tell you what they, not, adults don't need to keep telling you, like, here's the deal. When I'm going through this trauma as a kid, right now too many adults are telling me how I'm supposed to feel. And when they're telling me how I'm supposed to feel and I don't feel that way, I feel like something is wrong with me. And so let's give them a chance to say, this is how I feel, even though we shouldn't keep telling them, no, you're supposed to feel this way, or no, you should do that. We gotta give them that voice so they can feel like they're a part of this, because our youth don't always feel like they're a part of the decisions that we make.
In what school?
So I was keeping that quiet.
You volunteered. You volunteered at school?
I volunteered at school with Michelle Clark.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun times hooping up there.
So the next three to the mic: Antonio Daniels, James Ruffin, and Arwera Karen Winters. So please be sure to spell your name right before you provide your comment for record purposes.
Good evening. My name is Antonio Daniels. I'm the block club captain of the Adams Block Club 5500. And I am here to ask beg your pardon that you would consider Chief Ernest Cato.
Spell your name before you continue.
Yes, the name is spelled Antonil, Daniels. And so, since I got a little time, just want to give a small testimony. It's seemingly insignificant, but my lawnmower and my weed whacker were stolen from my backyard. My son was walking down Central, and he saw the person who was trying to sell it to him. He came home with a picture of it because he asked the gentleman, "Well, can I just show my dad?" And he took a picture, and then I went out to find this guy. I ran into Chief Cato at the time he was commander, parked on the street. I explained to him my situation. He stopped me before I got myself in trouble, encouraged me to go file a complaint. And then when I got back, I ran into two of his detectives. This is unprecedented, but they helped find this person, helped me get my lawnmower back in that same day. I'll never forget that. But I've also had opportunities to walk peace marches with him. I've also had opportunities to experience some of the best people on the force that he's trained. And so that's my ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to say good evening to everybody. And my name is James Ruffin, R-U-F-F-I-N. And I'm here to expound on you all selection or picking the next police chief. And I hope you all are sincere about what you all are doing. I hope you all are going to add the community input into it, because it is very important. You see, I came to Austin back in 73. Long before most of y'all probably were born in. And it was a good area. All the family were moving in and sorting themselves out and moving having a good time over here. But somewhere it fell through. We don't don't have the police protection like we used to. We don't see police clock out like we used to. Well, I shouldn't have to deal like this. I should not have to be afraid to go carry my garbage out. I should be able to walk around my neighborhood. I should be able to get on the CTA bus and ride downtown to sightseeing. I should be able to ride on the north side on the hill on the south side, sightseeing. But I can't do it. I should be able to drive my car up and down the expressway. But I can't do that no more. For fear I might have antagonized about it and they just about to shoot me. There's a lot of things that I should be able to do that I can't do anymore. And I'm living like this. Why? This is the 21st century. This is supposed to be a good society that we're living in now. Yet we can't even do the things normally that we're supposed to do. And whatever the process is of you all picking the superintendent, I hope it be one that has the courage in order to do the job and protect the citizens of the city of Chicago. And I don't know what the process is going to be and how far back you're going to reach out. But I know Alfonso Watson used to be at the 15th district. I know Robert West used to be at the 15th district. And I know Commander Best used to be at the 15th district. And these are people that you could depend on. These are people that will come into your neighborhood at the churches and have done and go on the block with them and talk to the people and things. This is what I am looking for. I am not a spring chicken anymore. I'm into my golden years. And I want to enjoy my golden years. I want to enjoy my grandchildren. The only way I can do that is to save Chicago. And I know it's not going to do it overnight, but I know we can put something up. And if you're all sincere about bringing the community in, if you're all sincere about doing the thing that is right, putting the health club back on the west side and on the north side, on the south side, putting recreation centers up, getting the business people involved, getting jobs into the community, and I'm sure that we can come together and do this thing as a whole. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
Orarewa, Kehrein, K-A-R-E-N, Winters, W-I-N-T-R-S. I'm the district council elect for the 15th Police District, Consent Decree Coalition member. I'm the founder of the Forum Movement for Pierre Roy, and I'm also the co-founder of the Village Leaders Joint Block Clubs 5000 West Jackson and 5000 West Quincy. I serve with Chief Cato as co-chairs of the Use of Force Working Group in 2020 until 2021. I worked with him at a time when I despised police and I had deep contempt for the Chicago Police Department, because on this day, April 11th, 7 years ago, my 16-year-old grandnephew was publicly executed in a police-involved shooting in the Lawndale community. It was also during the George Floyd uprising and reckoning, so I was in my trauma body with my guards up, and I was looking for someone or somewhere to express my rage. It was also during COVID, so our first introduction was a phone conversation, and I remember laughing at a time when there was no laughter in my life. And after the call, I felt as though I had just spoken with an old friend. That speaks to his demeanor. When I spoke of our work as co-chairs to people in the community, they all knew him and they had worked with him in some capacity, and I honestly only received accolades about his work. That speaks to his character. I have been in meetings with officers who have been under his command, and I hear them share something that he has taught them, and that speaks to his leadership. The story, a young woman was in conversation with him. She was an abolitionist, and after the conversation, she was triggered by something, and she called me and she talked to me on the phone for 3 hours. And when I shared this with him, he told me to tell that young woman that he loved her, and he wasn't talking in any inappropriate way. He meant in an agape, unconditional love kind of way, and that speaks to his compassion. Brandon Johnson said, and I quote, he would be looking for someone tethered to rank and file, someone who understands the dynamic nature of the city of Chicago, someone who can also be a part of our infrastructure and has a commitment to bringing people together. Look no further. It is Chief Ernest Cato. We wanted him instead of Brown, but I don't believe people have been able to reach his full potential under the last administration. I believe he deserves this extraordinary opportunity to lead the second largest police agency in the country, and he has earned the chance to help transform the narrative of what public safety truly means, and Chief Cato will be instrumental in helping to build a sense of public trust in all 22 police districts and 77 Chicago neighborhoods. Thank you.
Our next speakers are Tamiko Hall, Princess Shaw, and Ariana Correa. Oh, sorry.
And please, as you approach the mic, spell your names for the purpose of the record.
Good evening, Commissioners. How are you? My name is Tamiko Holt, Tamiko, last name Holt. I'm the National President of Western for the Black People Political Action Committee. And I'm here I have 3 comments and I wrote them all together. We, no matter what superintendent we get, if we don't start to tackle the underlying issues that produces the products that he have to deal with, he or she, let's not forget, because I hear a lot of men names being mentioned, where is the money? Okay, let's do that. The underlying issues. Who is pretty much watching the contractors that's administering these psych exams for upcoming police officers that's going to be on these forces? So that's the problem. That's the problem that nobody's talking about, nobody is tackling. We just keep mentioning the exams, but we still not looking at the contractors that administer these exams. Something is clearly wrong there. Number 2, there's an unwritten policy that has to be dealt with in Chicago. I call it the catch, inform, and release policy. That has to be dealt with because the same people, these CIs, are one of the most, how do I put this? They commit more crimes in the community, and some of the heinous crimes, and they keep pretty, because they're informing, they keep give them a 1099 and still arrest them for their crimes. So if we continue to let these cycles perpetuate, like what? No matter what superintendent we get, it will be an ongoing issue if we don't tackle these underlying issues. And we need to see more of our people that look like us on these forces. We need to grab them now. Is there any talks about bringing back junior policing? We need to get our children involved because they're the ones that are mainly pretty much being targeted. I have a problem with that. So, but it's also a disconnect because of the way they've been treated. They watch their parents be treated, their grandparents be treated by this same force. So over the years, there's a problem. We have to solve that problem. We have to deal with the underlying issues, and that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much.
I also want to say because we have thus far been keeping track of the time, and some people have went over, but we're getting more and more comments, so now we have to be sort of strict about the 2-minute rule. So if you hear us say at this time, please, respectfully take 5 or 10 more seconds to wrap up and allow us to continue.
Hi, good evening. I was just talking to someone that's a very great Jimmy. He does a lot of work in Lawndale with me. But my name is Princess, Princess, last name is Shaw, SHAW. And then I have Chloe, thank you. I have Chloe that is helping me with the mic up here. We asked that this council today that you take the feedback heard here today seriously. We ask that you take this feedback and actually listen to the community. If this council is really looking to unite the community, we the community are hurting. We the community are the eyes and ears of the city, and somehow, one way or another, we have the police department and all those that are in power have forgotten the voices for countless years. Seeing that we have not been listened to and that the old ways and systematic procedures have failed the city time and time again for the communities which has thrust us to where we are today. I thank you guys for taking the time out to actually listen to us because we've seen countless times that the ways that have been taken have not proven to be just. We, the community, ask that our selection be considered. That selection would be Ernest Cato III. We, the community, ask this council that you ensure that the new superintendent is supported by all sister agencies in the city. That means that anytime that they need any type of assistance from these sister agencies, which we've seen in the past do not help each other, that they are there for the superintendent in support of and not trying to defund the police or take them out of their positions. The new superintendent should be supported with his new and innovative ways. That's what we're calling the urban way of policing this city, which will include a mixture of old and new ways that can range from mental health programs, youth initiatives, anything that he comes up with, Ernest Cato III, that he's shown in the past that works. We want to make sure we support those, and we have supported them in the past, and we have seen decline in certain areas where crime is very, very rapid.
That's fine. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ariana Correa, A-R-I-A-N-A-C-O-R-R-E-A, and I serve as an appointed member of the Commission's Non-Citizen Advisory Council, which includes Chicago residents who are not United States citizens and Chicago residents who are undocumented, and may include people who work on behalf of Chicago residents who are not United States citizens. On today's historic meeting, I'd like to thank the commissioners and staff of the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability for working with the Non-Citizen Advisory Council to ensure that the perspectives and experiences of Chicago residents who are not United States citizens are reflected and incorporated in the Commission's work, which includes the Chicago Police Department's superintendent search. In my individual capacity, I'd like to uplift my role for the next superintendent to provide their expertise in trauma-informed, feeling-centered, as well as restorative policies and practices to effectively serve all Chicagoans. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next speakers, Lucretia Burtz, Jorge De La Vega, and DeAndre Ruiz. Please remember to spell your names.
Okay, my name is spelled L-A capital C, lowercase R-E-S-H-I-A, last name Burtz, B-I-R-T-S. I didn't really prepare much to say today. I just want to go on record saying, first of all, I'm proud of y'all for this process. This is very new, and I think that there's an energy in the room as it relates to just Chicagoans, especially West Siders, coming together to, just think critically about what we want and desire from the police superintendent. And I haven't seen that before, and it has been a good mental exercise, as a community organizer to think about these things. Also just want to say, I don't have a lot of direct experience with police officers in Chicago, but from what I've seen on the ground with my fellow community organizers and people who I've been working closely with who do interact with police, people who are leaders of block clubs and people who call and rely on the police, there's a name or a particular person who's been standing out, and it's already been mentioned in the crowd, but I'm going to mention it again. That is Ernest Cato, right? One of the reasons he stands out, just from my conversations with community members, is because he has made himself accessible to community. And I think that is so important to have people who are willing to not step down, but meet community where we are and partner with us, and also be creative around new solutions. So I really hope that resonates and that y'all take seriously the recommendations from those of us on this west side. So shout out to Ernest Cato, and I hope that he is considered. Thank you.
My name is Jorge De La Vega. United States Army Combat Veteran with the 82nd Airborne Division. Thanks for having me.
Spell your name.
Oh yeah, so that's Jorge, Jorge, last name De La Vega, DE space, LA space, DEGA. I would say everybody in this room is here because we're all on the same side. We want to see positive results. So I think we all need to keep that in mind. Nobody's against each other. With that being said, and everybody's pretty much covered it. Anybody that leads the CPD needs to come from within the ranks. Believe it or not, we're in a combat zone here in Chicago, and as a combat, leaders need to lead from the front. They need to come from the police department. They know how to, where the mud, where the meat hits the grinder. Those are the people we need leading the city. As far, I look at your name, the CCPSA accountability, big part of that. And a lot of people might be a fan of this, but I think a lot of accountability needs to start at home. A lot of people forget that. It's very easy to point the fingers at the CPD. It's very easy to point fingers at CPS. My wife's a school teacher of CPS for over 20 years now, and she's seen it all. She teaches at an inner city school. I know you're gonna ask me, Blvd Salazar is downtown, and she's dealt with problems. I mean, she's gotten kicked, she's gotten stabbed with scissors, she's gotten punched. They called the cops one time. This is a second grader. He tried to take the gun away from the police. When the police showed up, they were looking at my wife like, you can't handle a second grader? This kid came at the cops. There's nothing that we can do, CPD can do, or CPS can do. That needs to start at home. Accountability needs to start at home. And for anybody that brings up defund the police, I haven't heard anything like that, so that's great. I just need you guys to do the research with cities like San Francisco and Portland and Seattle and see their current situations. That is not the answer. We need to support the police, stand behind them, and work together. And I appreciate you guys being up here because I feel like that's what we're going to do. Find new ways to do that. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Just as a point for me, a few people have, I think he was the first person to specify what he meant when he said within, he said from within the ranks, and I'm assuming he means within the Chicago Police Department. But a lot of folks have been saying within, and as I'm listening to you, I'm like, they mean just like Illinois, they mean Chicago, they mean CPD specifically. Thank you. It seems like the answer is the Chicago Police Department. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I really don't like mics, right? So my name is DeAndre Rivers. I am also 1/3 of the district council elect for the 15th district.
Spell your name.
My name is spelled DeOndreRutues. And so the first thing I want to say is the best things in Chicago come from the west side. So I'm definitely throwing my head in the ring with Ernest Cato. And I also want to mention the fact that since 2018, I've been a part of what's called the Chicago Neighborhood Policing Initiative. It was a policing philosophy to reinvent the way policing is done in the city. So what we did is we took some officers, we took them off the radio for about 30% of their time, and we put them in community, having real connections with community members to problem solve. We had our community members, our ambassadors, work alongside these individuals for years. This program has been in place for 5 years. We want to see it expand. We're currently in 10 districts, and we've done some incredible work for all the ambassadors that are here. They know the work that we've been able to accomplish. So one, we want to see an expansion of that. So I would love for the superintendent to get behind our program to reinvent policing so that officers become problem solvers. They're off the radio, in community. They're making real connections, and they're building relationships that lead to crimes being solved and public safety being increased. And what I would like to do is read off this list lastly. So for the next superintendent, I would love for them to respect the consent decree. We've missed 99% of our consent decree, probably the other 1% as well. I would like for them to place more emphasis on police-community relationships. Again, utilize our program as a model. We need something like that. I want to see them develop better communication interdepartmentally. The Chicago police work in silos in every single department, on every single shift, and we need somebody that's going to open up the lines of communication. I would like to see 20+ years of service, because that person would be from this city and understand the police department in and out through all the different changes, as well as what's going on now with these younger individuals that's coming in that are now police. I want to see them be community oriented. I want to see them be relationship builders. I want to see them work with the district councils. I want to see them figure out how to get more African Americans hired in the police department. And lastly, I want them to police all the communities equally and justly. Don't and work without any way to get it done.
Thank you.
Also want to remind people that there is a QR code that is a survey. If you scan it, we will take in your feedback. That's really important. That is specifically for people who are in this room today. So if you don't mind, please scan that. If you do not have a phone to scan, there are some printed copies here as well. This data will help shape what the interview process for the next superintendent will look like. With that, we'll call our next three folks: Sydney Brooks, Renee Price, and Yusuf Marie? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, other folks here, Renee Price and
Sydney Brooks.
Yep.
Please spell your name for the record.
Renee, R-A-N-E-E, Price, P-R-I-C. Good evening. I just wanted to say that for 25 years, I worked in 15, and I worked under the leadership of Commander Cato. When he first came there, he was a sergeant, a lieutenant, and he became a commander. Now, this forum is going to go to the south sides and to the north sides. You're going to get suggestions from them, probably about their commanders or someone that they've worked with. But what you won't hear about those people over there is the passion and the compassion that Ernest Cato showed in the 15th district. When I worked in the schools, where a lot of the officers aren't anymore, problems would start in the schools. Having officers in the schools, we would know if a gun is being brought to the school. I would call Commander Cato and let him know, we're getting a problem, kids are coming up to the schools with guns. Immediately, he would dispatch everyone over there. Some kids were caught, some weren't caught. He is for the community. When I say he gets out of the car and he works nights, and he does smokeouts, cookouts. One of my friends had a problem on the block where they were selling drugs. The drug stop was shut down. They had a barbecue in the middle of the block, and he was right there with them. We started a program with the schools. The schools all in the on the west side with Chicago Police, where we had a back to school program. And we came together as one, CPS and CPD. And he was very much involved in it. He's very passionate about community policing, and you can't do it without the community. And Ernest Cato is really good at it.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Yes. My name is Yusuf Marie, Y-O-U-S-I-F. Last name M-A-R-E-I. Happy Ramadan, happy Easter, happy Jewish holidays, happy everyone. Even happy Easter. In fact, at the time of hardship, leaders will get to be known. At the time of coronavirus time, we were confused what to do sometimes, how to reach out. We cooperated as a Muslim and Arab community in Northside Chicago with the police department. Mr. Tim Brown, you know, the big brother, you know, right? From the side, he introduced us to Mr. Kehrein and another 5 police commanders, and we cooperated together in supporting the police stations. We supported about 12 police stations under the guidance of Mr. Kehrein. It reminds us with the community cabs, community policing at the time, Mayor Gary and Fair Time, when they used to walk in every corner, wherever they go, if there is an incident, a shooting, he talked about it a lot to us at the Pharmacy One Northside Chicago. We see through him compassionate, outreacher, great get together, communicator. I want to tell you this. That is Mr. Kid. We need a leader to come to the people. We figured out Mr. Cato knows about Chicago, not only the streets, about every back area of Chicago. We need somebody like that. And we have a famous saying. Are you patient with me 1 second? I want to speak in Arabic 1 second, okay? A famous saying, thousands of years ago in Mecca. Mecca is the holiest city in Islam. You know that, right? Okay. Then Jerusalem, then Medina. We used to, and idiom, famous saying, أهل مكة أدرى بشعابها. Listen. أهل مكة أدرى بشعابها. I want to remove Mecca now and say, أهل Chicago أدرى بشعابها. The people of Mecca knows about Mecca more than anybody else, and the people of Chicago knows about Chicago more than anybody else. And I can see that. So Mr. Kehrein to be the next superintendent of Chicago. Say inshallah. Say inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we need, let's guys, every time me and my wife at Channel 7, we see words spilled with blood. I see your mothers, your sisters, my child killed, and so on. We don't need to see that anymore.
Yes.
And I can see Mr. Kehrein, he will put a strategy to reduce such painful crimes to all of us. I would like to see Mr. Kehrein, he will, and he did, to come to our mosques.
We gotta wrap it up, sir. Let's move right
Mosques, churches, synagogues, and to have a better community together with a better safety to all of us in the great city of Chicago. I want to you final. When we talk about America back home, we say Chicago, not America. Chicago is number one.
Thank you. Please spell your name for the record, Mr. Brooks.
Hello, my name is Sidney Brooks, here.
Yes.
SIDNEY, BROOKS. I wasn't sure if you covered the south side of the 4th district. Just wanted to make sure we get heard. We're looking for a superintendent that's gonna go back to old school policing. We need a superintendent that's gonna get the police officers out of the cars and walking down the street and meeting residents at their house. Where I live at, which everyone knows, I'm on the southeast side. I have more police officers nowadays where I pass me and won't speak. I've been in the communities 57 years. I don't know, some of y'all know Troy Yates, all the boys from the old school. They knew all of us as we grew up. We need a superintendent that looks at the trainers who's training the new officers. Because if you train an officer, if you have a bad trainer, you're gonna have a bad officer. So we need, the superintendent needs to look at who's out doing the training. He needs to get them out the cars, walk in the community. I know people, police officers, I have family that's police officers. I have friends that's police officers. It's not easy for them, because everybody looks at them as enemy. But there's a lot of us that look at them as friends. And they need to grow that friendship among the residents and the youth. I would like a superintendent who gets officers to come into youth programs. Not in uniform, but just as a regular person. Where the youth can see them as a regular person and not a police officer. So whoever our superintendent is, they need to push their issues coming through training and as they come on the streets. Because a lot of our trainers, and we've seen that in the last killing that guy, I can't think of his name, they got choked to death. He had 3 rookie officers there. George Floyd. He had 3 rookie officers that watched him do this. And I had sympathy for them. Because he was their leader.
That's time.
and they was following him. So we need better trainers to train our young officers.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Brooks, we will be taking this to St. Sabina at our next one, so we'll be on the south side. St. Sabina.
I need south side.
You want it over here?
You need to go southeast. And I have a spot for you if you want to come southeast.
Okay.
For anybody, I don't know if anybody has an answer about we have to be out of here. We have to be right at 8. Okay, so we have more comments than we do time. There's about 20 comments here. We probably need to shorten the time to 90 seconds. I apologize to anybody who's come after the time, but it sounds like we gotta be out here at 8 o'clock, and we wanna try to hear from everybody. So we're gonna start being strict about the time, and we're gonna have to shorten it to 90 seconds. I apologize if we, you don't get a chance to finish what you're saying. Our next 3 speakers are Russia Watson, Aisha Oliver, and Sam Christian.
How you doing, everyone? Aisha Oliver, A-I-S-H-A, Oliver, O-L-I-V-E-R. Good evening to all the adults in the room, but I'm here to advocate for my young people. Also born and raised in 25 years. I'm the proud founder of Roots of Fruit Youth Foundation and co-founder of the Austin Safety Action Plan. So this group is actually made up of the demographic that should be in this room, which is a majority young black men ages 12 to 21. So we have a safe zone in Austin, which surprisingly, some officers told me that they didn't know about. But we have CPD data showing that this safe zone has actually decreased violence in this area, and it's only 1 mile. So we have a strategy that's been created by our young people. What I would like to touch on really quickly is the fact that last summer while we were running our safe zone, one of my young men was assaulted by an officer, and then we ended up losing one of our young men to gun violence, and there were 8 other young men with him who had to see this young man pass away. And there was a huge divide after that between these young people who live in this community and have been doing everything in their powers to separate themselves from the nonsense to be advocates for their community and be active and reactivated and create intergenerational spaces in Austin. So immediately the divide got wider between these young black men and the officers who did not look like them, who basically made them feel like what they were doing was a waste of time. So what I told my young people is we don't need an apology. We don't need anybody to come to pat us on the back. We don't need anybody to come and tell us that they wish us well. We keep all of that. Thank you to the sergeants and officers who did reach out to my young people and come and have conversations with them. What I told these young people is we're going to do this a different way. So instead of being young leaders, they are now young consultants. So I would ask that the next superintendent take into consideration that these young people who have been trained to be community engagement consultants in their community are the ones training the new incoming and the tenured officers on what youth and community engagement looks like. Thank you.
Thank you. If we call your name in the 3, if you could line up so we can try to keep the process moving as quickly as possible.
And the next 3 also, you guys can start lining up: Shirley Fields, Miriam Monroe, and Valerie Jennings.
Hello, my name is Sam Christian. I'm a retired deputy chief from the Chicago Police Department. I was actually in Area 5 when LYC was in the 15th district. That was a really good command over there for me. I just came tonight. I wanted to hear the pulse of the city, see what they're thinking.
I didn't hear you, sir. You said
I wanted to come tonight to hear the pulse of the city, see what they're saying about the new superintendent, and to thank you for doing this, coming out to the community and listening to what they have to say. I want to acknowledge too that I think the next superintendent should be from our ranks, from the Chicago Police Department. We have a lot of good leaders. The other thing that I wanted to ask was a question. Have you reached out to the rank and file of the Chicago Police Department to see what they want in a leader? Because they need to be confident in who has to, who they're reporting to and who's going to be their leader on the Chicago Police Department. So that's my question to you. Have you reached out to them, or do you have any chance to do that?
Yes.
Change is hard to take. Policing's changing, and we accept that. So with their guidance, I mean, they have to accept that, and they have to have that communication with you. So,
The answer to your question is yes. That will not be a public forum like this. We have a number of different ways that we are reaching out to rank and file officers to get their input, whether it be through emailing and sending it in, or actually we were in discussion with a few commanders actually to go out and sit in the districts and meet them as they are going in and out of work. So we have had a few discussions about how to properly do that, and we're in the process of doing that now.
well, it's good to meet with upper management, but it's those men and women that are responding to those calls on the street that are really important. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Before I let you hear, this is just like a personal privilege. If you came here tonight and before hearing folks speak, if you came here tonight to support Ernest Cato, can you raise your hand, please? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Valerie Jennings, and my name is spelled V-A-L. Are you all listening?
Oh, our apology. I think someone who was before you, Mr. Rusher,
Sorry about that.
Bonner. Okay.
No,
No,
we
Rusher Bonner was
Yes.
before her, but he can't come to the mic. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say that we have a bad situation in Chicago with sticking up, robbing, and carrying on. I just hope that the next superintendent come in, he would have better training for the police department. You know, we go through a lot. Last Tuesday morning, about 5 o'clock, my daughter was stuck up in my driveway. They took her car, one held a gun on her, the other one jumped in the car, and they took off. They couldn't go very far because the car shut down after so long. But it's bad. And we need, the police department need to get more wiser and more plentiful in the neighborhood. We need a lot of police in the neighborhood for our benefit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Valerie?
Okay, good evening. Thank you for coming. My name is Valerie Jennings, V-A-L-E-R-I-E, J-E-N-N-I-N-G-S. I have been a homeowner in the Austin community for over 40 years. With that longevity in this community, I am very much committed to the community. What I would like to see in the next superintendent is that someone who is committed to public safety. This has pretty much been said by everyone, not just public safety on the north side, not just public safety on the southwest side, but committed to public safety everywhere in this neighborhood. We deserve it. And especially if you're a homeowner, because you're paying the hard-earned taxes. And if you go to work every day and you're not a homeowner, you're still paying taxes. So we deserve it. We deserve better than what we have been getting. Okay? So yes, it should come from within the ranks. I'm not sure what he or she might look like, but it must come from within the city. I'd like to see the person be fair, just, compassionate, and caring. But I just would like to add just one little thing, because I am a Christian. I'd like to see that person have that willingness to show a little bit of grace, tempered with mercy.
Thank you.
Wow. I feel the energy, I feel the hope, I feel the possibilities, and most of all, I feel the love in this room for a better city of Chicago. My name is Shirley Fields, S-H-I-R-L-E-Y, F-I-E-L-D-S. I would just like to say that I live in the 15th district. I'm a stakeholder, I am a resident, and I'm a property over here, and a business owner. The 15th district, the crime rate has dropped. For those of us, you don't know it, and it's because of Kehrein. He comes to Black Club parties, he does everything that the community wants him to do. He's a boots on the ground type of person, and I love that. I love where I live. I used to be ashamed to say I lived in an awesome community, but now I'm proud to say that. I'm proud because of all the beautiful things that are going on over here on the west side. We have the Soul City Quarter. We have Laramie Bank is coming up. It's just so many beautiful things going on. And we need a police officer, a superintendent who knows the city of Chicago. He needs to live here. And I'm traumatized by Pulaski and Madison. I am traumatized. If they can clean up downtown and get those people off Michigan Avenue and they clown, somebody needs to clean up Pulaski and Madison. It's a travesty. We are devastated. We are traumatized. So that needs to be one of the first things they do. We have an open drug market right now in Pulaski and Madison. And it's embarrassing. Thank you.
Ms. Fields?
There was a guy who was here earlier who said something about that guy on the highway. Is that the same place you?
No, that's different. That's 290. We talking about right here on Pulaski and Madison. When I called the police department, 11th district, they said they can't clean it up. They tell me that I don't believe that. I'm a taxpaying citizen. Pulaski and Madison need to be cleaned up. And I'm also a realtor. I know I only have 90 seconds, but you call me back. I'm a licensed realtor. The 4000 block of Wilcott, I'm traumatized. I need some therapy. I go over there to list this property, sell this property. Detectives came over there like crazy today, but guess what? They didn't do a thing. They came over there, drove up their cars. I could have had a heart attack. All they did was went up to the building, and they got back in their cars and drove away. People are getting killed over there. It's not making the news. And I don't understand how Jason Irving is allowing this to go on, where taxpayers are paying their money, and you can't, the kids, and I'm talking about young kids. I was angry with those young kids, I was scared of those young kids, but most of all, I feel sorry for them, because those young people have mental issues. They have mental problems, they can't get jobs, they were nice girls and nice guys. They didn't give me no problem, but I know they killed me, because they don't know no better, because they got mental issues. I had to, they said, are you videoing us? I said, no, I'm not videoing you guys. Do something about that, please.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Miriam Monroe. It's spelled M-E-R-I-E-M, last name Monroe, M-O-N-R-O-E. I actually shared a sentiment of many of the audience members today, but I want to go ahead and highlight some statistics because numbers don't lie. The Office of Inspector General conducted an assessment on the City of Chicago's internal police department areas. And the first finding that they found out was that several operational limitations prevent the department from better meeting officer wellness needs. Specifically, there are deficiencies in recruitment and staffing, training, documentation, and record keeping, internal communications, and cultural competencies. So what that has a residual impact on is the mental health of the officers, but then also how they over-police Black and brown communities. What that looks like is incidents like the Kehrein McDonald case in 2014, where he had a documented mental health diagnosis. That wasn't considered. Suicide rate among officers ranks third in the nation among U.S. professions. However, in the city of Chicago is 60% higher than the national average. CPD also has not implemented the required officer suicide prevention plan within the consent decree that was adopted in 2019. The office also stated that the peer support program for better meeting officer wellness needs is not being enacted as well at all. So those are things that I feel that are very important for this next superintendent to consider. The training and education of the officers that are conducting community policing as far as mental health crisis training.
That's time. Thank you so much. So we're going to call up the next round of speakers. Vicki Johnson, Claudia Montoya, Elida Carrizosa, O.J. Johnson, Ronald Jackson, and Willie Stovall. Please be sure to spell your names.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vicki Johnson. Spell my name is V-I-C-K-I-E. I've
been raised here in Chicago. I'm 50 years old, I just made 50 this year, thank God. I've been in the 4th Ward. I've been in the 27th Ward. I've been in the 28th Ward. I'm in the 29th Ward. I'm West Side Ward in Mount Sinai Hospital. 24th Ward. I love my city. So the young man that got up here and he spoke about accountability. And also, I'm a public servant, an activist. I drove for CTA for many years. I've been in transportation for over 20 years. And when you drive for CTA, we have many hats. We just not a bus driver. We are what Brandon said. We have to counsel people. We have to be a mother. We have to be a father. We have to be a sister and a brother because we are the front end workers. We deal with kids. I have seen kids that got on the bus that wasn't, they're not being nurtured. Our kids is number one, like the sister said, the children are our future. I remember when I was a little girl, I was saying Cabrini Green. When I was a little girl, we had a CFD that they came out and they talked to the kids. They loved the CPD over there on Cabrini Green off of Division over there in that street. We had the officer that when I was a little girl, we seen officers riding around. We don't see that no more. So whoever they choose to be the superintendent, like the one said, we need passion, we need respect, we need accountability in the house, like you said, it starts at home. This is my home, Chicago. And whatever affects on the west side, affects on the south side, the north side, and downtown on the east coast. And I pray for my family. So it's accountability starts with all of us. And that superintendent, he have to have respect. He have to have passion.
We reached the time limit.
Thank you. Accountability starts. I just want to pray. I just want to say this one word that God gave me. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people are mourning. And we done had enough of mourning. It's time for us to get together and accountability. That's what it's about. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Claudia Montoya, CLAUDIA, MONT as in Tom, OYA. I am a block club member and I work with the 1100 block of North Central Park, the 1000 block, 1100 block of North Monticello, 1100 block of North Lawndale. And we are all committed to our community. And that is something that we're also looking for in our next superintendent. So this is what I would like to say. That the superintendent and Mayor-elect Brandon should work together to find solutions that would benefit the entire city of Chicago. They should work to fill police vacancies and put officers back on the streets where we need them, while they should also work together to address the root causes that affect or that are causing the crime that we see in our neighborhoods. In terms of the next superintendent, they should personally be a person who has experience, dedication, integrity, and commitment, not only to their staff, but also to the communities that they serve. This is a person who should be an internal hire, and that's someone who has risen through the ranks so that the officers that are on the streets every day can respect them because they know what that person has gone through their own experiences. So my recommendation is for Chief Cato, just like everyone else has in the state, because he is a man of faith. He is a man that exudes pretty much integrity, trust, and understanding. He may not be someone that I know too much personally, but in the times that I have met him, there is just something about that man, and je ne sais quoi, that cannot be explained. So when you have someone like that in front of you, you need to take advantage of them and put them back on the force. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alina Carrizosa, E-L-I-D as in David A, C-A-R-R-I-Z-O-Z-A. Reside at the 1100 block of North Central Park, along with my neighbors on Monticello, Longdale, and Ridgeway. And I nominate Ernest Cato, the federal. He is a man of word, a man of character and empathy. He understands diversity. He sees no color. A man of principle, and he's very involved with the community. He is a true to the point. And, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I think the superintendent should come from the rank.
State and spell your name, sir.
O.J. Johnson, United Front Anti-Crime Organization. I think the superintendent should come from the rank and file group, which will also have a religious background, someone of God. Secondly, unless he's willing to reinstate the policies that the policemen trained in the academy, first they're supposed to patrol the neighborhood at 15 miles an hour. They do not. They are not supposed to run any lights unless they're an emergency. They run all the lights in the neighborhood. That's something we've been fighting forever and a day to the many superintendents that's been into power. Last but not least, they need to patrol the gateways. Look down each gateway as they patrol. At the end of the block, get out and look around and walk and shake a few hands. Last but not least, they need to go up and down the alley. The only time police can go down the alley is when you call them. There's a lot of crime that goes in the alley. So he needs to restructure the whole police department and retrain them and institute those programs that the community been fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to say thank you. Ronald, R-O-N-A-L-D, Jackson, J-A-C-K-S-O-N. Mental Health Movement, Chicago. I am actually a board member of the Chicago Department of Health Mental Health Advisory Board. And I'll just say, I'm going to really try to make this short because the young lady in the green gave you statistics. And when this process first arose, two names came to memory: Barbara West and Cato. That's right. To that I say, we have a department right now that is suffering from a consent decree, and also they have mental health issues that they do not have to tell anybody. We have a union that is not on board with the city. We have mental health throughout the city. And I just want to let you know that every third Monday, the Chicago Department of Health holds a 2-hour session for public comments on social media. Every Monday that they hold that, less than 25 people are on that line. If we want to start talking about getting to the root problem of solving things in Chicago, we have to get on board. Mental health, there should be 1,000 people on that line. When we start talking about police, we have to come out of our little, well, you know what, I just mind my business. I'm going to say, and I'm not in with this, until we start really looking for solutions and being the solutions, ain't nothing going to change no matter who you put in office.
Thank you. So we have another speaker coming to the mic, and before he fully approaches, Sean Price, Judge Marianne Jackson, Stephen Robinson, Carletta Kelly, Jerry Cullum Sr., and Patty Carrillo.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Willis Stovall. I'm Vice President of the Peacemakers Coalition. I'm the President of the Cindy Epstein Youth Center Advisory Board. And I'm also a promoter by the name of Westside Bill. Everybody in Chicago will know me by that name. But anyway, what needs to be done, you need to pick someone that knows the city, knows the people, knows the neighborhood. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know why we're going through this process. There's only one person that I can think of that's qualified for this job, and that's Ernest Cato.
Thank you.
Good evening. There was a lot more people called before my name, but I'll start. My name is Carletta Kelly. That's Karletta. My last name is Kelly, Kelly. So I live in the 8th district. And if I could make a suggestion, maybe have a digital clock for speakers as the time runs out. So wish list for next superintendent. I would like them to be open to the idea to put 90% of police officers on the street for patrol and actually hire civilians in administrative offices, so that would free up police officers to be actually able to be on the streets, and also increase employment citizens, and also for citizens to be more aware of the police process. I would also, my other wish list is that cadets who are trained are not trained, that are trained outside of Black communities, so that they associate crime with proximity and not race. I also would like as a wish list for there to be mandatory repeat clinical psych evaluations repeatedly that is attached to the progress, to raises or rank, or and also that includes civics and ethnic history. I think when police who deal with the public have a more understanding of each person's ethnicity and where they come from and how they may juxtapose how they react culturally, it gives more insight and cause more de-escalation.
That's time.
One more. Small businesses. A lot of times, because the police can cause rifts between small businesses and the community, a lot of our small businesses are held hostage by the guys hanging out in front of them, and they're usually low calls when the small businesses call. The police are usually going to the higher ranking things. And so our small businesses are sometimes held hostage because the local boys know that the police are not going to come. So I would like for there to be more civic training and understanding how important small business is in CPD.
Thank you.
Hello, Sora.
Good evening. My name is Judge Mary Ann Jackson, Marianne, last name Jackson, Jackson. Prior to my retirement, I had the courtroom for the 15th District in Juvenile Court for 19 years. I saw a lot of stuff in that court. But what I came this evening to, and some people have already spoke to it, but I want to say that they're absolutely right. Yes, we have a lot of very good police officers. We got a lot of bad actors. We have too many officers on the force who are not psychologically fit to hold the position. But until we get rid of the bad actors and make sure the entire force is psychologically fit to do what is obviously a very dangerous and demanding job, we're going to have problems. City Chicago has paid out $575 million since 2016. There are hundreds of cases pending right now, and we could be looking at another $500 million that's got to be paid out. That needs to stop. And the way it stops is you must have rigorous, rigid psychological testing of people that you give a gun to.
That's time.
And to keep doing what it is that we're doing is crazy. So the next superintendent, whoever he or she may be, needs to demand a psychologically fit force. And say nothing less. Yes, we need mental health. All these kids walking around out here suffering from PTSD. No doubt about it. I had a kid in my courtroom standing next to people on 2 different occasions that got blown away and he wound up with brains and blood all over him. You can't be right after something like that happens to you without great mental health treatments. So we need a psychologically fit force. We need help for these children out here on the streets.
Thank you.
Jerry Powell, J-C-O-L-L-U-M. Good evening. You can feel the hope in this room. Yes. I know you feel the hope in this room. Yes. A change is coming for the good, where we can finally think outside the box. The old way, locking up everyone, has not worked. We're in pain. And my block club and I have had 7 different commanders. But until we met Deputy Chief Cato, and he came in thinking outside the box, attacking and helping us with our problems, and attacked it head on, without brutality. So when they say, what can we do? We have to change the way we go about policing, which I am happy and gratified that the mayor and this forum and everybody in this room would hope that some of the pain will be relieved. And I hope they pick Deputy Chief Cato.
Good evening, everyone. Steve Robinson, Executive Director, Northwest Austin Council, member of Peacemaker Coalition, and also a member of Neighborhood Policing Initiative. I want to say we need a superintendent that can show transparency through the whole city with the things that are going on. We need a superintendent that can relate to everyone and build relationships. We need a superintendent that can work with the rank and files and understand what the rank and files need in Chicago. We need someone that's definitely from Chicago. And I charge that we look at Ernest Cato III as our next superintendent of the city of Chicago.
Hello, my name is Kehrein, P-A-T-T-Y-C-A-R-I-I-L-L-O, and I'm the president of the Black Club 1011 Monticello and Central Park 1100. I'm here from them, and we just come here for Cato to just support him. We want him to be the next superintendent because since he started working with us in our community, a lot of things change. And we miss when he has to retire, but we want him back. That's what I would say.
So we have 2 final speakers here, Jacob Arena and Mercer Road.
Or Miller? Miller.
Oh, no, Rogers.
Okay.
So Jacob Arena.
Again, Bill Rogers. At first I didn't know we were going to do testimony for Ernest Cato. But bottom line, 21 years old, got beat up by the police, lost my kid, angry. As I got older and got involved in politics of local unions and joined the union and union student administrator, retired, and out here working with the community, I ran into Ernest Cato. I had never seen one from the police department that dedicated, worked since 2017, guys. He has worked with the community. He is part of the community. He is family. We need officers from Chicago. Ernest Cato is one. We need people who are passionate. Ernest Cato is one. Okay? Ernest Cato deserves a shot at this job.
Thank you.
Last person is Jacob Arena. Jacob here.
Okay, you can take the last comment.
Thank you. I did not want to speak, but I think I have to speak. My name is Cassandra Norman. I am a resident of the Austin community for almost 40 years. I'm also a retired Chicago police officer. As a retired police officer, I work in my community. I'm a member of the local school council, and I'm also president of the South Austin Neighborhood Association. As a retired police officer, when I was an officer, I worked in the CAPS office, in the community policing office. And in working in the community policing office, we did a lot of boots on the ground work. We did a lot of contact with the community, and those kind of things come from the top. The superintendent, then the deputy chiefs, and then down to the district level where the commanders are. I'm advocating for you to look at each candidate very carefully, to look at leadership qualities, to look at their guidance, their community engagement, their past police records, everything, because we have to pull the community back together. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Just as a final reminder, if you haven't, please scan the QR code and take the survey, and we also have printed forms for you to take the survey as well.
Yes, I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. Thank you to the Kehrein Center for the Arts for allowing us to use this beautiful facility. We do ask that you spread the word about the upcoming town halls. The next one will be on April 19th at St. Sabina Church, so we do hope to see you there, as well as bring 3 or 4 others with you, because this is very important, this is historic, and we want to ensure that you are at the table, and this has never happened before, but we as a commission are committed to that.
Yeah, also just want to echo those sentiments. This is a part of me is like fighting back being emotional. It's just really amazing to see. I was asked by a reporter earlier today, do you think community members will actually think that their voices heard? And I think that if you feel the energy in this room today, if you see the folks that came out, a lot of times they or people, whoever you want to, name, like to boil down our community to 2 things, right? And it's like you're either on the defund side or you're on the back and blue side. And there's not a lot of room for conversation and nuance. What our holistic experience is like. What is it like to grow up in these communities, to walk these streets, to understand that, we have different issues in the city of Chicago, but we've also, clearly, as you all have been a testament to today, officers and commanders who, go out and risk it all and are tethered to the community. So I'm like especially really hopeful, as a person who, not as a commissioner, just as a person who grew up in the city of Chicago and who witnessed a lot of stuff, to see the community come out like this and make yourself vulnerable and express yourself. And I would just ask you to stay engaged with us. Please know that this matters a lot. We took notes. I'm going to go back and watch these recordings. I know Commissioner Terry as well as the other commissioners who are here. Your voice is extremely important. We really want to make sure that the next leader of the Chicago Police Department has heard you. So again, thank you. And I look forward to engaging with you all in the future.